Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to influencers and leaders in the wine industry, winemakers, restaurants, and other businesses. Tune in every Wednesday and Friday for our latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so that you do not miss out. Now, to get on with the show. Good day, everyone. Today I'm speaking to Johann Crafford from Planet Wine. It's a pleasure speaking to you, Johann, and welcome to our show.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. Thank you all.
Johann, tell us a bit more about your history and how you got involved in the wine industry.
It's quite a long story, but I'll keep it brief. I was born and bred in Stellenbosch, right in the heart of the winelands, but really knew nothing about wine. After varsity, I stumbled into journalism, spent about 16 years in Cape Town, first at in the electronic media and then in print media. Then packed my bags and left for Joburg, where I started a PR company, ran that for 16 years. Decided I didn't like Joburg that much, returned to the Cape to retire. And but after 3 months, I found retirement wasn't what it was supposed to be. And I was looking for something to do. And then a winemaking friend introduced me to the many wonders of wine. And I studied at the Cape Wine Academy, started visiting winemakers, learned from them, and eventually got my hands dirty and planted Grenache vines at Nederburg. And from there went through the whole process, and I made my first wine in 2010 at the Grendel with much help from cellar master Charles Hopkins. Yeah, and then out of the blue one day I was approached by a major Afrikaans publication to do a monthly wine column for them. And I did that for a couple of years, and then it started feeling like work, and I chucked that. And my lady friend then, who's my wife now, suggested I start my own website. And Planet Wine started as a purely Afrikaans wine website. And then I started getting emails from readers saying, why don't you write in English as well? We enjoy your writing, but very often we don't understand what you're writing about. And then Planet Wine or Planet Wine became Planet Wine, and ever since then it's been bilingual. And yeah, it's been a wonderful journey.
Well, that's amazing. So Planet Wine that is a blog, right? It's written word.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So blogging, is this now your full-time profession, or is it a side hobby, or how do you see it?
I'm just about everything I've done all my life has been driven by passion, and I've got a great passion for wine. Both my wife and I are foodies. And the funny thing is, when I got into the wine thing, I for the first time learned the wonders of flavors and aromas, and then obviously getting into food, the wonders of different textures. And we both love to travel, so we're very fortunate in that we travel overseas once or twice a year. And for the last 10 years, we've been visiting Europe, different countries, and obviously enjoying their wines and comparing their wines and their wine tourism offerings with what we have.
Well, that sounds awesome. I mean, that's the three categories on your blog, right? Wine, food, and travel. And now I understand why you chose these three. Have you traveled to other wine regions besides Europe?
Not yet. Last year we went to Turkey, which I didn't expect much in terms of wine. Then I did a bit of research and discovered that they also have a very strong history. We went 2 years ago. We went to Russia, and in Northern Europe, where I did not expect wine. I did get wine, but I did find wine, but very often made from berries and not grapes. But Russia, for example, as a wine industry, and I was quite surprised to discover that.
Well, that's something I didn't even know. This shows you, right? Always learn something. So,
absolutely.
Johann, your favorite wine region? I mean, I know you're biased towards Stellenbosch, but tell us, you've traveled a lot. So what is your real favorite place?
I often get asked my favorite wine and my favorite wine area, and I always tell people, it's like asking a parent of triplets, which one is your favorite triplet? It's so difficult. We're just so fortunate in South Africa. I don't think we really realize how spoiled we are for choice. not in just in terms of the diversity of wines and wine styles, but I mean the other offerings like restaurants, accommodation, and activities to do. So yeah, I think I'm going to skip that one. I think every region is very special, and every region offers something unique as far as I'm concerned.
So that's interesting to me. When the first time I went to France, I expected something similar to the Cape Winelands, whereas your Bordeaux region seems to be a factory, and Champagne is a bit more welcoming. But the Cape
Yeah,
Winelands is really unique in the way it welcomes visitors, isn't it?
absolutely, absolutely. We, as I said, 2 years ago, I'm trying to get my bearings right. 2018, we visited France and then Switzerland. And I think the big disappointment of France was Chateauneuf de Pape. Uh, Maybe I'd expected too much, but I mean, what we got there was not close to what we offer here in South Africa. Burgundy, we were very impressed, Chablis, but as I say, overall, I think we offer um, probably better than most wine producing countries.
Yeah, the experience is very, very nice. There's no wonder that we're one of the top tourist regions. So you and your blog I mean, you're influencing the industry. So if a wineries business are sitting out there and they say, yes, I think I'd like you on to write about my business or about my wine or my winery, how did they get your attention?
They send me an email, they contact me. As I said, this to me, it's a hobby, something I enjoy very, very much. I don't charge anybody anything to do an article. Most of the approaches come from my side, where I would approach a lesser known or a new winery and ask them, can I come and visit you, taste your wines, and write about you? As I say, we don't charge anybody. We do it for free simply because I'd like to introduce more and more people to more and more wines and more wine areas. So it's purely passion driven.
I assume at least they give you a bottle of wine a dinner or a lunch every now and then.
Every now and then.
All right. Just a quick interruption, but I do need to remind you that we are currently in a very difficult time. The South African government has set up a fund where businesses and individuals can donate to support our country through this crisis. Go to the website now and add your small donation: www.solidarityfund.co.za. Please join us all in the fight against COVID-19. That is at www.solidarityfund.co.za. Now, let's get on with the show. So Johann, in terms of the whole winelands has expanded so much in the last few years. I mean, we've expanded. I mean, all over the country there's wine now. So, what is what is to use the most exciting developments in the South African wine industry over the last few years?
I think the one thing, as I'm from the old school, and my friends who are in the winemaking business, we tended to make, or they tended to make wines the way their fathers did and their grandfathers did. Where today's younger generation are more energetic, they seem to push the envelope more. They're more adventurous. They would try new varieties. The one thing I do like is the fact that we're spending more and more time on experimenting with lesser known varieties. A few years back, we were in Croatia, and on the island of Korčula, I discovered some absolutely magnificent white wines. And speaking to the winemakers there, I mean, they've got a very similar terroir to what we have. So there's still so much growth potential in South Africa. It's actually amazing.
So do you see your blog Planet Wine, expanding? Are you getting a lot of your readers? If you have to say your ratio between South African readers and international readers, what would that be? Do you know?
I'd say it's about 80% local and about 20% overseas. I'm surprised that we've actually got a couple of people following us from Russia. I don't know how much they understand of what I'm writing, especially in Afrikaans, but they seem to be very keen. And what I like about it's a small. I don't have a mass following, and I've never been interested in that. This is not for me to make money or anything. This is just passion driven. And what I like about the people that read Planet Wine, that follow it, is the fact that they're very keen, very enthusiastic. Whenever I write about a new winery or a new wine or a wine style. There seems to be a lot of comment, questions, and people would go out and try it and come back to me and say, no, you're either right or you're wrong. We don't like it or we love it. So, yeah.
So next question I had is, about the coronavirus, and it's forced everyone to rethink their business models, and your business model, or your passion model, if I can call it that way, has been online from the start. So you're not really affected by something like Corona, but your certainly your readers and other Winelands businesses are. And
Yes.
what would you suggest for them? Do you have any changes or things that they could do to get themselves, their stories out, and or maybe even additional digital business models?
I think, well, this pandemic is forcing us to rethink many things in terms of marketing, in terms of marketing communication. I did find, having a marketing communication background, that too many wineries or wine producers did not really understand the importance of communication as part of the marketing mix. And I've also found that too many wine producers spend too much time and too much energy on the overseas market. I understand that is very important, but if you can't, I think the ideal thing is to have your local market buy up all your wine, and for me the perfect situation is where you've got to actually say, hang on a second, we can't sell you any more wine. This is meant for the export market. So yeah, but we'll have to rethink quite a few things in terms of our marketing.
That's very interesting. I think you're right in that you're saying, especially now when these lockdowns and stuff are lifted, world tourism is going to take a while to actually rebound. So I think local tourism is going to be extremely important for all our tourism-driven businesses.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we spend too much time concentrating on the overseas market. The one thing that we've found every year overseas, talking to people saying, come to South Africa, look at our exchange rate. Our rand is worth nothing, so it must be the cheapest holiday ever. And they would tell me, no, South Africa is actually bloody expensive. And then we did a survey about 2 years ago, coming back from Switzerland, which is extremely expensive. And we did discover that, very much of the pricing is aimed at the overseas market and not the local market. And I hope that Corona will now force these people to say, hang on a second, your primary market should be your local market, and your secondary market, your overseas market.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how things change.
Absolutely.
So Johann, your wine journey seems to, I just wanted to ask you something. Do you still make wine? Or have you
I haven't for the past few years. We retired to Jacobsbaai.
okay.
We've been living here for 3.5 years. We're moving back to Melkbosstrand now. My wife's been suffering from sinusitis since we got here, so that's forcing us back to Melkbosstrand. We've got property there, so then I'll be closer to Cape Town again, and obviously I'll go back to trying to make some more wine aside. I miss that actually.
So your wine journey, what is the most important thing that you've learned?
Oh, wine is not a destination. Wine is not wine is not a destination. It's a journey, and it's a wonderful, wonderful journey of discovery. And the most beautiful thing for me, after having been in it for about 20 years, is there's no end in sight.
No end in sight. I like that. So Johann, on that note, can you give us your very own wine quote, or your favorite wine quote?
That would probably be it. That wine is not a destination; it's a journey of discovery. And I've just done an article on which will be published soon on Planet Wine, about people who limit their taste to just one wine or just one style. And I find that so, and I don't want to be nasty, but so ignorant, with so many wine styles, so many wines out there, that people just limit themselves to one wine or one wine style. Go out there, try new wines. Don't, if you taste a wine, you don't like the first taste, don't push the glass away. Try it again. Be open-minded. And the main thing is get to know the basics of wine. Understand what wine is all about, the flavors and the aromas. You'll enjoy it so much more.
Johann, I mean, that's such good advice, and I'm looking forward to reading your new article. So, if people want to get hold of you or Planet Wine, where do they find you?
Well, obviously, planetwine.co.za. If people want to send me an email, it's wine@iafrica.com. My details are on the website anyway, and I mean, it has a Facebook page, and people can just send me an email, a message on the Facebook page. I'm looking forward to lesser known, lesser commercial, unknown wineries contacting me. I'd love to do their stories. I'd love to tell their stories. To me, that's the one thing that I enjoy most.
So Ian, going back to what you were saying in communication, right? I don't think that
Mm,
wineries or wine estates realize they've got such a rich history and so many stories to tell. And it's great
absolutely.
that you have the platform for them to tell those stories because,
Ab-
the more you tell your story, the more people engage with you.
Exactly. And to keep secrets in such a competitive industry is stupidity on steroids, as far as I'm concerned. And there's an expensive way of communicating, and there's a more cost-effective way of communicating. Wineries and wine producers should sit down and rethink their marketing mix, and don't discard PR just because some PR companies are very expensive. Uh,
I totally agree with you. Johann, it was been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Will.
And yeah, thank you. I will leave links in the description below to Planet Wine and to your Facebook page and your Instagram and everything.
Thank you
And
very much.
yeah, thank you very much for spending the time. It was enlightening.
Thank you very much, Will. Thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot, and best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.